Hi, everybody. Sorry for the late start to the stream. I am Ben Wright, human cartoonist extraordinaire, and welcome to the second part of the CosPain live draw for these three strips. And may I also say, a very happy Friday the 13th to everyone. So, what's going to happen? I've already done the line art for these strips, and this is just the coloring stage. I did the first part on March 11th. If you are watching on YouTube and you are in the chat, go ahead and let me know. We can get a conversation going. Yeah, I normally don't do live streams like this close to each other. I'm doing it this time because there was an event announced that I happened to see today called FLOC, Feeling Left Out Con. It's being run by Space, which is a local con to Columbus. And it is honestly something that I've been thinking needed to happen anyway. So I'm pretty excited to see that people are taking those reins. If no one was doing it, I was actually thinking I was going to try to do something like it myself, although I had no idea how to organize it, where while we're all kind of trapped at home, we make digital cons, just online groups of people working together to people are feeling for having cons canceled out from under them. I know, just looking at my face, which you don't want to do. There you go. That is significantly better. I'm going to zoom out and just show you what I've been got set up. 2-drink minimum, rib origin story, gradual obsolescence. There were no technical difficulties. Shut up. What you talking about, Willis? But yeah, I know a lot of people are pretty upset about all the con cancellations and the problems that are popping up. And they are absolutely a pain. I also generally make it a point not to get political or anything like that on streams like this because it's something that I want people to be able to come here and feel safe and have fun. And when arguments like that start up, or you hear people being disrespectful to whatever opinion you have, that can be a problem. So the only reason I bring it up is that this is a particularly important issue for right now, and that's everything that's happening with coronavirus. I've I know a few people who are not taking it particularly seriously. I know some people who may be taking it a little overly seriously, but this is one of those situations where I think it's going to be better to overreact and be right. It'd be better to overreact and be wrong than underreact and be wrong. So I strongly encourage any of you, even if you don't think that this disease is a big deal. First off, I find it hard to argue that it's not a big deal. Every medical professional in the world who's talked about this has said it is a big deal. I would encourage everyone to be safe, to take care of yourselves, take care of other people, and make good choices. As for me, one of the big choices I've been struggling with is that I may be going back to Virginia for a little bit while all this is happening. Because that's where my parents are. They've been stocking very well. They've got a much larger home than I have that's more comfortable, a better place to wait something like this out. It would mean I was not completely on my own. I live alone where I am right now. And this would mean I had others that I could interact with in the event of a full quarantine, which might happen. And in the event that anything happened to any of us, there'd be people there that could help take care of it. Both my parents are in their late 60s, so it's definitely a concern if they were to get something like this. Did I do that right? I did. It's been a difficult question, in part because I'm getting mixed information about whether or not my health insurance will cover me if anything happens to me in Virginia, which is a real mess. Um, I would technically be out of network. Um, and I'm getting information that some COVID-19 testing or testing is going to be covered. They don't want that to be an issue, but that's not where I'd be worried. Like, I'd be worried in any kind of long-term care that some people end up needing. So it's a complicated issue, and all I'm really saying is take care of yourselves, pay attention, take this seriously, and make sure you're being smart. You've probably heard it all. Just good hygiene, wash your hands extra times, try not to touch your face, stock up on toilet paper. I know that one is. I know I saw a few people saying, why is that so important? It's like, because if you run out of it, you're really gonna miss it. Especially if you're in a situation where you can't leave the house to try to get more. It is one of the weirder things that people are running out of, I'm not gonna lie. Cool. Computer's feeling laggy today. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. I usually just pull colors from my various comics. Did I grab the... Yeah, that's the hair. Here we go. I did manage to get one last con in before everything went completely crazy. It was just this past weekend. The Indie Comics Fair at the Ace of Cups, which is a very small con and happens to be based out of a bar in Columbus. And the reason I bring it up, why are you not filling? Oh, there we go. It just was a delayed reaction. The reason I'm bringing it up is because this strip I'm doing right now is loosely based on that. It's about having a weird con venue and then finding out it has a full bar so you can drink while you table. Which, if you are a drinker and you happen to be at a venue that allows that, it can be very nice to have a drink while you're trying to table. Loosens you up a little bit, makes selling easier. Not mandatory, and I don't recommend getting drunk. I actually do know people who've done sales work drunk and they say it helps, but that's not a good habit. You got to be careful with that stuff. There we go. Let's start with the blue. Now, I've talked about this on other streams, but as I'm hoping I'll get some people who have not seen my streams before, I'll tell you that this particular character that I'm drawing right now, the Tabler, is one of the only characters that's directly based on a friend of mine, cartoonist Angela Boyle. And Angela, there we go, is one of the first people that helped me learn how to table. We met at the Center for Cartoon Studies, and she'd been doing tabling some back in Seattle. So I looked to her a lot for advice early on when I was getting stuff going. There we go. When I was coming up with characters for CosPain, one of the factors was I didn't want anyone to look exactly like any one person. The characters were supposed to be archetypes, and I didn't want to be like, oh, the person you're looking at here, that's based on my friend Bob, or anything like that. Or the one that comes up frequently. So a lot of these jokes are based on interactions with a friend of mine who does a lot more cosplay than I do, named Trixie. um, who does a lot of really silly stuff, and I make him into comics. But one of the important points I've made is that none of the characters is Trixie, um, because they're archetypes. They're not the specific person. I'm trying to make it so that they can be more. And part of the way I did that with Trixie is I've made two characters that both have that a lot of the stuff that happens with her happen to one or the other. So it's not just one. While I was figuring out the art style, though, I did a doodle of Angela and her uh, partner Abe, and I looked at it and I loved this picture, and I just turned it. I contacted Angela and I was like, "Can I use this for my Tabler characters? Because I kind of love this drawing." The funniest thing is, so Abe doesn't actually wear a puffy jacket like that. He wears a fleece. It's the same color, but and for some reason I pictured it in my head as a puffy jacket. But he looked at the illustration. He's like, "I need to get me a puffy jacket," and I'm like, "Yeah, get a puffy jacket." So that's just kind of funny. I have found that despite looking like Angela, I have been pretty good about making her the character's personality not necessarily the same as Angela's. This character is this character ends up having a lot of my personality in there. Like this is the character I use to vent about Tabler issues. Um, and as a result, I have a lot of Tablers tell me they have a lot of fun with her appearances in the comic. That's cool. I need pencil about that thickness. Why didn't that work? There we go. I just touched my face, I think. Well, I had a good run. Excuse me 1 second. I'm not sick. I'm drinking hot liquid, and that makes my sinus run. There we go. That was nasty. You probably didn't need to know that. Too late now. You did not do what you're supposed to. There we go. There we go. I like these stripes. Let's do... I normally don't bother with direction changing on the stripes, but might as well here. Oh, too far. Why are you being a butt? Stop being a butt. There we go. If any of you feel like participating in the chat, it is always appreciated because it makes it a lot easier to talk when there are people talking back. So feel free to hop in if you happen to be there. Otherwise, I am perfectly happy talking into the void. I do it surprising amount when I live stream. Lately it's been better, but it's pretty common for me just to be expositing while working. I have come to the conclusion that whenever I completely run out of things to talk about and go completely quiet, that's usually the time to wrap up. But we can avoid that if any of you feel like joining in. My guess is I'm going to start doing live streams a lot. That'd be my hope anyway. I do enjoy them, although I find them very tiring. Hey, that was convenient. There was a hole I didn't spot that filled in a lot. I find them very tiring. The introvert in me always needs to recover after I've done some of this. but there is something refreshing about talking about this stuff. It's almost therapeutic. Like you're thinking out loud and actually telling people about it. That's one of the rough things with any kind of asocial tendency is the frequency by which you don't talk in a form that others can actually see. Come on. My computer is acting weird. Oh, what are you doing? Okay, that's not supposed to be happening. There we go. Okay, we just needed to settle. Touched my face again. There we go. Seriously, what is going on? Hope my computer doesn't need a reboot. Hate to have to put the stream on hold or end it early. Nope. Hmm. Nope. Ah. Oh, I see the hole. There we go. Eh. Yeah, I try not to fill anything in the black areas back here because some types of printing that can actually get really messy. So I take instead, there we go. I try to keep that from going down. Since presumably anyone jumping in based on what Flock is doing is going to be an artist, probably in the Columbus area. So I'm going to talk a little bit of tech while I do all this. I started by importing bitmapped TIFF, so just the line art, just black and white pixels. That's it. I converted it to an RGB file. Then I set it to multiply and turned it down to 50%. Locked that as the top layer. Created a separate layer that has the outside border here completely white, so if I do anything there, it doesn't show through. I created an invisible bottom layer that will be white, but that'll pop in later. I keep it turned off so I can see better where I've actually filled stuff in and where I haven't. And finally, I create a coloring layer. And I have an action set up that does all that for me, so I don't have to worry about it. Oh, and I also save it separately as a Photoshop file because I prefer working in Photoshop files. Oop, did that again. There we go. Nope. Yep. There we go. So I had played with the idea of trying to organize a streaming con. My whole idea is you get a bunch of people who do streaming anyway for various art things. It could be what I'm doing here, or could be cosplay tutorials, could be anything. And getting them to do it around a set schedule. They can set it for their channel. And every just notice my face color changes when there's that much orange. Orange! Not orange. Orange! Not orange. We have fun. But yeah, I want to set up a just where they all stream around the same time uh, for long periods of time is what I'd hope, like multiple blocks, and then kind of cross promote maybe on a Discord chat room or something like that. If we were able to get that going, I'd absolutely love it. I don't know that I'd be the one to organize it. I don't know what challenges would come up from it. All stuff I would research before I do something like this. My system is being weirdly unresponsive to important stuff. Where is that hole? Oh, there we go. That's probably it. Yeah, that did it. It's always tough finding the tiny holes. Yep. Ah, I see the hole. Hey, the fill didn't work. For once the system glitching paid off for me. What? Uh, hold on. Well, that's weird. So, that background area that seems to have filled in uh, has not. Huh. Don't know why that happened. It's like it recorded a step in the past that didn't happen. I don't know how else to describe that because that was weird. Oh no. There we go. All right, basic color for the characters is done. I'll now need to do other stuff, but let me take a quick look before I do at a couple things. Computer's working overtime, that's no surprise. Okay, here's what I'm going to do because my computer's really working weird right now. I am going to reboot it. But if you do hang around, the stream will be going back up in a few minutes. I just need to get it restarted, get everything going again. Uh, I apologize that we got to take this step, but it's necessary for now. I will be right back. Don't touch that dial. Are we back? Okay, we should be back. Good? Yes? Stream health? Excellent? Good. All right. Just to be safe, I'm going to pop in here, see what happens. Yep. Okay. It showed me waving. That's probably a good sign. I can hear myself. Cool. All right. Apologies about that. I don't know what my system was doing, but it was going a little bit nuts. All right, what do I got to do now? All right, now you get to see me cheat. That's going to be the fun part. So let's see. I always tend to think of this as cheating, even though it is technically a completely legitimate thing to do. That's the one. Let's pop you right there. Move you up. Resize. Okay, my system's still acting screwy. That's fine. Oh, look at that. Google Chrome's taking up a lot of space. Who'd have thunk? There we go. That's what I was trying to do. Let's see. Eyeballing, that looks about right. Let's get it in place. A little too big. Shrink it. That'll work. Whoa, that's not the color I meant to pick. That was. There we go. Much better. These up here look pretty good. However, create one more layer. Fill it in white, just to be safe, because I can see some transparent spots. All right. Copy. Oh, hold on. Undo that. Forgot about that part. I see the problem. Forgot that I need to merge. There we go. Now, slide it down. Select both of these. Merge them again. And slide it down. And because of how I did that, I need to do some trimming again, but that's okay. Looks good. That looks good. That needs to be bumped down. That's pretty good. Cool. Well, thanks to my little shortcut there, I just saved myself a lot of time and headache. Is it lazy? Yes, but it very much helps me. In fact, as a result of that, we are through the majority of this strip. Time to make the backsplash. Set that to 50%. Zoom in. I just spotted a color I forgot. Let's take care of that before I forget. Mouth interior. I think that's the only one. Yep. All right, let's fill you. What's a good confusion color? Let's do a light purple. Maybe lighter than that. There we go. By the way, I know that I haven't done the white on the glasses. I find it a lot easier to do white once I've done the backsplashes. Let's go with nice yellow or a muted yellow for that. How about a little green? And now you've been a little bit liquored up. Nice serene blue. How's that look? I think I don't quite care for that purple. Let's change that. About an orange. See what that looks like. Ooh. Yeah, I think I like that better. Cool. Let's go take care of the glasses. Oh, and I need to color the martini as well. Let's start by making the martini white. At least the glass. This is why I find it easier to do the backsplash before I do the white, because it sometimes likes to read transparent as white and then has trouble with figuring out what you're supposed to fill. It's harder to block it off. So when you have color there, the system can read it a little better. There we go. Got all the glasses. Glasses, 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 glasses. There we go. And as a nod to my friend Trixie, while it is a little exaggerated for this, no, you know what? I'm going to make the olives this color, which I learned, thanks to Trixie, is called chartreuse. And oh, I say that and then I completely forgot that I wasn't using that for the, put that there, like right in between the fingers. That's kind of cool. By the way, I don't know if that's how others drink martinis. I happen to really like martinis, but I always hold on using my fingers to the little toothpick. So for a good dirty martini, mixology with Ben Wright Human. Um, but the color should be a little yellowish if you make them the way I do, which is dirty. Let's see if that blonde. I filled that badly, but that's the exact color I need. Mm-mm. There we go. Once again, if you happen to pop into the chat, please let me know you're there. It is a lot easier to do all this if I know I've got someone I can talk to. And if there's no one in the chat, nothing wrong with talking to the void. Cool. With that, the basic coloring's done. I still need to do shading, but I'm going to do all the shading for all the strips at about the same time. I'm going to move on to the next one. Reborgen Story is making fun of the ribbons that show up at cons. I kind of like ribbons, although one of the things that my capitalist butt would want to do is sell them, which is my understanding. Nobody really does. They're always just given away as a promotional thing. It's like having a business card at a con. But it's always difficult to make freebies when you're trying to make money. So, not sure that I'd ever make them myself. I've thought about it. Maybe as a promotional thing for who knows? I did just finish Kickstarter for a book, which I'm hoping coronavirus doesn't delay my shipping of that, because if I go back home, that's going to make things very interesting. But got to do what you got to do. Ooh, I need to remember to bring my knives home so I can make some of the stuff if I have to. Assuming I do go home. What happens in the next few days could change a great deal. But my instinct is to return home. There we go. Good. The only time I generally do ribbons is if someone straight up hands them to me. If they're put in my hand. If I'll do the pronoun ribbons these days when I can get my hands on them. And he, him, by the way, if you didn't know. And I also try to do the like I have some friends who use ribbons to promote stuff, notably Trixie, who I mentioned before, who runs the Cosplayer Survivor Support Network. And she uses ribbons quite a bit actually, for her organization. And whenever I can get my hands on one, I tend to take one. Feel a little bad because I've taken multiple of the same ribbons because you kind of get them afresh at every con. But, you know, is what it is. She's giving them away. That's a lot of ribbons, isn't it? And now, Ribbon Man! Making this, coloring all of these is going to be an absolute pain. I think I've got an idea of how I'm going to do it, but it's going to be annoying. Not going to lie. I like to think that Ribbon Man will be an ongoing gag on some level. And you guys get to see a bit of his original creation, his Rib origin story. Let's see. Where's the hole? No. There we go. Fill, fill, fill. There we go. Ah, wrong one. I just realized I'm probably going to need to open up another comic before I'm done with all this. Good, good. So part of the reason I do multiple comics at once, well, for one, it makes my life a lot easier. I've managed to do up to 4 strips over a period of 2 days. Anything else, like I'm not going to have to make more strips to stay caught up, which is kind of handy because I need to finish up the file for the book. I need to do uh, buffering. I have 2 freelance projects that I need to get work done on, and this will give me the breathing room I need in order to do that. Let's see, where's the next? Beard. There we go. Still being a little weird. I wonder if Photoshop had a bad update. Everything's running smoother at least, so that fixed that problem. Oh, there we go. No! Fill that. Fill that. There we go. But yeah, I recently got 2 freelance projects, one of which I can't talk about yet. The other one, however, is with a friend of mine, John Porobil, who does music under the name John Eric, which I've always thought was a bit of a generic name. There we go. Yeah, it's still doing that weird thing where sometimes I tell it to fill and it says it filled and it didn't fill. But if a reboot didn't fix that, it's probably an issue with the actual software, which must have been updated recently, and I didn't notice it. Fill that in. Just spotted that. But yeah, John has a new podcast he's doing with his brother uh, Harrison that is all about listening to albums all the way through. The podcast is called Play Disc, and he just hired me to be his title card artist, which I'm more than happy to do. I've actually worked with John numerous times. We went to college together, but I've also done album art for some of his projects. There's a ribbon there. So I was more than happy to assist. But I have a bunch of his episodes to do title cards for, so I need to get to work on that. Part of why I'm getting all of this out of the way. If this strip gets popular, maybe I need to do a Ribbon Man cosplay. I'd love to do some really goofy stuff with this. Just be walking around a con like, Halt! Have you no ribbons? Enjoy this ribbon for great justice! Ribbon Man away! I'd have a ball with that. It's the type of cosplay I like to do the most. Where you can kind of respectfully mess with people. Like, I don't. One of the important rules of cosplay that uh, not everyone follows, but everyone kind of needs to, is that everyone's there to have fun. You shouldn't be making people not have fun. Anything you do that makes other people have less of a good time, you shouldn't be doing. So when I talk about kind of trolling action like I just did, I would keep it very respectful, very simple. And if someone wasn't into it, I'm gone. Um, because, well, that's important. Cosplaying a jerk does not mean that you get to be a jerk. I actually have a good example of this. I was at a con. I'm blanking on the name. I want to say it was in Morgantown, West Virginia. Um, Overall, decent small con. But there's this one person who was going around it. They had a full mask and were being very creepy. And one person that they seemed to go after a lot because that person was really bothered by it actually got behind my table. I let them to get away from this person who at one point pulled a fake knife as part of the character and like swung it at him. And that was so messed up. I wanted to report it to um, the staff, to security, because this is horribly abusive. Like, this should not be happening. And in fact, I also found out from the person that they were doing this to, they didn't know who it was. This wasn't a friend of theirs just messing with them. It was a complete unknown. And I wanted to report to security. They asked me not to, and I disagreed with it, but I respect it. So I didn't report it. But I kind of almost wanted that person to take a swing at me just so I'd have an excuse to do it myself. But it really bothered me. That person, I don't even know what character they were cosplaying, but they believed that because they were cosplaying a jerk, that meant they got to be a jerk. And that's not how it works. Uh, you see this with certain characters a lot. Um, I want to be clear before I go on. I'm not talking about all people who cosplay these characters. This is just something that happens sometimes. Uh, but it's been known to happen with Joker cosplayers, with Deadpool cosplayers, happens a lot. I've seen it once or twice with Rorschach cosplayers, and full disclosure, I was a Rorschach cosplayer for one con. Um, it's not. It's one of those things where cosplaying these characters does not give you the right to do some of the things those characters would do. And this should be common sense. Deadpool kills people. Dressing as Deadpool doesn't give you the right to kill people. And this is where that's common sense, but there's a lot of stuff that you'd think would be common sense, and some people just don't see it that way. Which is why I'm pontificating at the moment, getting off the soapbox. There's a character I've wanted to cosplay for a while that would be a little bit like this, so I have been thinking about it a lot. But I want to cosplay the serial killer from Too Many Cooks. And I've got the sweater. I'm partway ready to do it. It just needs to finally, eventually happen. What I'd like to do when I make that cosplay is actually get uh, a copy of the song on loop, walk around the con with that playing, not too loudly, because that's also something that people do that's very annoying. I wouldn't be blasting it, but just whenever people were loosely in my radius, they'd hear it, look over, and they'd get it. And what I'd really love to do with that is, with permission, photobomb as many photo shoots as I possibly can. And the thing is, like, you do it right, other people are totally into the joke. Like, you can make that happen. You do it wrong, well, you're making it fun for you and less fun for everybody else, which in the long run also makes it less fun for you. Like, everything we can do to make cons work for as many people as possible makes cons better. More money, more people comfortable going, a broader and more diverse group. And this is not a hard thing to figure out. What color should I make his shirt? Actually, I need to do his eyes first. That's the color I used for his eyes. This staffer pops up a lot. He's sort of my go-to staffer design. Let's see. Anything else? So shirt color. I've been trying to give him a different shirt color every single time because he is, I mean, he's a staff at a con. Hold on, I need to open up the. Now the theme Too Many Cooks is stuck in my head. I had a funny incident trying to photobomb some of my friends at MagFest. They were doing a small shoot, and they knew I was there. They know I do this kind of stuff. It's not an issue. Like, I have permission with these people. But I went to so there was sort of like this window right behind them where they were taking the picture, and that kind of went to a little walkway with where a bar was. And I was like, okay, perfect. I'll just show up outside the window right behind him making a goofy face, and we'll have the one shot. That's the other thing. I make sure that they've gotten a couple good photos before I do the goofy photo. Um, and I popped back there, and a security guard or con security immediately said, "Oh, you can't come back here." I'm like, "Oh, can I just quickly photobomb my friends?" And they looked at the situation and just immediately said, "No, sorry, get out of here." And I was like, I'm disappointed, but good for them because like they didn't know that I knew these people. They couldn't have known that. I'd said it, but for all they knew, I was lying. So, respect for the fact that. Why do you keep opening over there? I'm trying to look at references. Respect for paying attention to that, not being. Were you going to open? Stop opening in that window. That's a streaming window. There we go. Hopefully this fixes it. But yeah, like good for that staffer. Nope, didn't fix it. That's really annoying. For taking action, stopping potential harassment, uh, doing something that taking something that seemed a little shady and making smart decisions. Like I respect that. It disappointed me, but I respect it. All right, I think I know what color roughly I want to do. Let's get this working. I heard you were talking about conventions. Hey, Kelsey, finally, someone in the chat. Keep me company. I'm so lonely. Let's see. I don't think I've done yellow. I didn't go through all of them, but I will check. You all set for your stream tomorrow? That'll work. Now I just need the mouth. Happy mouth. Hmm. Happy mouth. That person have a mouth? Yep. Fill that mouth. Kelsey, you recognize what I'm working on. You were actually there when I worked on the line art. Gonna draw D&D characters. I need to do a stream for that at some point. So what I'm doing right now, you don't use Facebook, if I recall. Space is actually doing a sort of mini con this weekend where it just everybody posts in a Facebook group uh, that they call Flock Feeling Left Out Con. Um, if you're interested in more information on that, let me know. It's all through Facebook, so you might have a hard time following it, but it seemed like something you might be into. The other thing, though, is that I'm thinking about doing stuff like that myself at some point. Maybe just try to get a bunch of uh, people who do various types of streams to all stream around the same time on their channels, but cross promote and do like a Discord running and do kind of like a fake con that way. If that's something that interests you, like that, I'll keep you in mind for it. You were one of the main people I thought of because you actually do art streams and stuff like that. Need to open up an extra file while we get this going. Friend of mine from Yo Ice tagged me for Flock. I saw it. Cool. Yeah, I've heard a couple people talking about doing stuff like that, and I'm hopeful that. Why are you not zooming in? What's happening here? Oh, oh, I was in the wrong window. Stupid cursor. You mean all of us on one stream? I'm down for that or any other option. I thought about trying to get it all into one channel, but I don't know how we do that. Um, there's a couple ways, but a lot of them have security issues, and I haven't figured out what the best thing to do would be. A lot of it works better if you can get everyone to one place. Like someone recommended, there's a gaming thing with that Twitch has called Good Games Done Quick. It's a speed running thing, but it's my understanding they're all speed running from like there's this one location that they've all gathered at to do this thing. So they have one channel, they've got it all set up that way. Um, for something this informal, where we're looking at the potential that people are quarantined in various different places, I was thinking more along the lines of we all have our own channels. We agree to do a lot of streaming on one weekend, like maybe multiple sessions over the weekend. Um, I was thinking I could do like a live draw like this, or work on some of the illustrations from that I owe for my Patreon, not my Patreon, the Kickstarter I just did. Or there was I could do D&D characters, like all kinds of stuff like that, and just do a bunch of those. And the idea is it's a little loosey goosey. It's we're all doing it in our own channels, but uh, we're still kind of coordinating with it. We're all agreeing to do it at the same time. We're cross promoting. I was thinking of maybe setting up a Discord server where anyone could come in. It could be organized by like artists, panels, stuff like that, and then you just post in there when something's going to happen. And then you try to get as many people as that into it as you can. But yeah, like each streamer is a panel at a con, and viewers can hop from panel to panel, stream to stream. Exactly. I was kind of thinking of it like the rooms at a con, like panel one, panel two, panel three, and just the different panels that happen in there, except it's all dedicated to one streamer. Um, that's kind of what I was thinking with it. There are a lot of ways we could do it, but when I got that idea, I was like, I wonder if this would work. The big problem that was brought up to me with it, and I'm sure there are more, but was the idea that the reason people go to cons, this would not necessarily scratch that itch. Like, there's a lot of people watching, there's a lot of socialization and things like that. And streaming doesn't work as well for that, but considering how much of it people are losing, then yeah, it's something I'd like to try. We can make it work. Yes, we can. But yeah, I'll keep you apprised on that. I think it's kind of a cool idea. I haven't gotten the coloring ribbon man, by the way, but he's going to look glorious. I'm going to make... Oh, I forgot to color his shirt now that I know what the color is going to be. Yeah. One of the things I would absolutely love to do is figure out a way to get a D&D game for a stream like that. Because, there's always tabletop stuff at cons. Um, and may try to get my group involved in that and see if we can get other people involved in it. But first, I have to figure out how you stream something like that. It's true, streaming is not the same as in person, but it's worth the try. That's what I figured. And I kind of am wanting to do more of these streams until we know what's going on with everything going nuts right now. Just so people have places that they can turn to get something brand new they haven't seen before that can keep them from going a little bit crazy. Like my friend Emma, who was in the last stream. She's been stuck at home a lot because of working from home. And I was kind of thinking of her when I made a lot of this because it can get stir crazy working from home all the time. I'm pretty good about it because, freelancer. Like that's part of what ends up happening. But I also I recognize that I kind of get stir crazy too. I make this the same color as the badge because this is supposed to be the registration table for that con. I will go brown. But yeah, I get nuts if I'm uh, if I spend too much time not interacting with people. And the biggest problem is I often don't notice it. So I try to make it a point to force myself to go out periodically. Uh, One of my big uh, reprieves that I've been able to take advantage of, that didn't work, has been going to libraries and stuff like that. I'm actually really bummed to see that the libraries in Columbus have all officially closed down. They're doing the right thing, but it's still sad to see. Let's make him. See if I can find a good skin tone that's a little on the yellow side. How's this? That'll work. Actually, I need to check something. Oh, it's the same skin tone. Never mind. I try to vary it up. Fact, I work from home and it can be hard. It's even harder now that most of my socialization is being canceled because of the coronavirus. Just the sheer number of event cancellations and public closures. Yeah, exactly. It's man, it's crazy some of the stuff that's going on right now. One of the things that has that's annoying for me. I've been looking at the possibility. Nope, that's the same color. Is it? Yeah, it is. Of going back to Virginia for just a little bit since my parents are kind of in one of the brackets that if they get sick, it's particularly bad. So I was thinking, yeah, I'll go home. If I get sick, it's much less of a big deal. If they get sick, I can help them out and do things like that. Plus, I'd be in a house uh, with a couple other people instead of stuck on my own. And they've been stocking, so it's a pretty good setup. The big problem is, as far as I can tell, if something bad happened, uh, such as I got seriously sick, like the big thing with, as I understand it, with coronavirus is you can get um, pneumonia. And the problem I found is that my health insurance doesn't cover me there, doesn't cover me in Virginia. Uh, I've kind of had it hinted to me that there are exceptions pending and things like that. No, okay, that's way darker than I thought. But as far as I can tell, that's only for getting the tests. If you need any kind of long-term care, that's out of pocket. Um, and that is a big problem for something like this. So I'm trying not to let that be the primary factor of my decision of whether or not to go back, but I'm definitely keeping it in mind. Is that different from this other guy's skin tone? Nope, it's the same. All right, I know what I gotta take. Here we go. Super pale. This is not in the normal list of colors, but it tests well because I used it on someone else. Yeah. So do you have the D&D character already rolled out? Have you figured that out, or are you going to figure it out during the stream? Let's give him not a lot of green in this. Let's give him a green shirt. Nope. Oh, I see it. There's the hole. Not to get political, but the coronavirus is definitely making people talk more and more about Medicare for all / public health care instead of private insurance. Yes, yes. I appreciate you starting with not to get political. um, I am, yeah, I want everyone to have health insurance. I'll admit it. But I'm hoping that uh, this does get the conversation moving in a more tangible direction, if that makes sense. Most of my characters are already rolled. The others are bench until one dies. Oh, are you actually going to be like doing a game, or are you just rolling designing the characters? Let's see. That looks too much like the khaki. I got to pick another color. How about that yellow? That looks a little different. Still looks too much like the khaki. Just designing characters tomorrow. All right. Let's see. I will hang out in your chat and shop unhelpful information. It's like you should make this one a drow elf with 2 scimitars. I don't think anyone's come up with that before. Let's see. Complementary color to orange is blue. Yeah, nope. What's other good trolling you could say when someone's trying to design D&D characters? Make your character a male elf and name him Steve. I don't know if anyone gets that. In case anyone sees that and doesn't, one of the most famous early D&D characters uh, from one of Gary Gygax's original games was a male elf named Melf. So that's kind of what I was nodding to. It was a dumb joke. You're welcome. I'm going to go deep green for the lanyard. There we go. There we go. Gazebo! I ever tell you when I was a kid, I came across that word in a book. I had no idea what it was. Like, I'd never heard it, and I thought it was pronounced gazeboo. It's my favorite example of reading something and having no idea how to pronounce it. Although my dad has admitted, because he grew up in Boston, that until he was, I think, in college, he thought bastard was spelled Bastid. Like, he legit thought that because he never seen it written down. I love telling that story because every time I do, I know that every single person hearing it is saying out loud, bastard. All right. I think we're about to get into the annoying stage. Yep. I'm actually going to create a new uh, window for that. Do you know the legend of Gazebo in D&D? I feel like I've been told it, but I don't remember it. Go ahead and refresh me. I thought maybe you were referencing something that I just wasn't catching. And I was just trying to pretend like I got it because I wanted to look like a cool guy. All right. The colors are about to get redonkadonkulous. I'm standing by that. All right. I'll refresh the story in my live stream tomorrow. It's a long, silly story. Cool. Long and silly stories are the best kind of story. Ah, I debated making every single one of these ribbons a different color, and then I realized that uh, I like myself more than that. That would have been a lot of work. So I'm going to just have a couple that get scattered all about. All right, let's pick another color. Uh, bu- 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 This is a good one with a bunch of colors that I all know are safe. Let's use that color. I'm very careful picking my colors because I want to make colors that are going to reproduce well in print. And pretty much all of these are tested, which is nice. Slacker. Yeah, yeah. You want to pay me to color all these individually? I charge by the ribbon. I could see you wearing a cape made of ribbons. Use like 2 or 3 colors on repeat. I'm not going to go quite that lazy, but pretty close. What's that? Isn't it an optical illusion that you can make an infinite number of repeating patterns where no two objects of the same color are touching with only 3 colors? Something like that? I think it's 3. It might be 4, but I think it's 3. All right, I'm going to make a couple of these also. Ooh, there's some holes. There we go. Oh, no. See, this is the one problem. For consistency's sake, okay, I don't use that for any of those. But I could. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which means that this one is that color. Let's see. Uh, I'll use that green. I'm going to save too. Let's make this one green, which means this one is green. I'll make this giant one green too. I think we need to make you a Ribbon Man costume, Kelsey. I think that would be amazing. You get some that are this brown. Is this the same color as the hair? It is. Never mind. I don't want it to be any of the colors that are actually on him. Let's go with a different purple. That'll work. Ah, wrong one. But yeah, I can just picture you at a. I can just picture you behind a table wearing the Ribbon Man uh, costume in character, handing out ribbons for great justice. Let's see. That goes. Oh, nope. Ribbon Man and their sidekick, Penny. I'd watch that Saturday morning cartoon. I'm going to use colors from other people now. Of course I would wear Ribbon Man cape. What would Ribbon Man's arch nemesis look like? That's my question. I want to see someone there who's like, curse you, Ribbon Man! I love that I'm not picturing this so much as a golden or silver age comic, but more like a golden age, like one of the old action serials, like maybe one of the proto superhero things, like the Shadow, like one of those villains. That would be fun. Oh, nope. No pink yet. We need pink. I actually don't particularly care for the color pink, but my personal preferences don't really weigh in on the matter. Oh, nope. I just realized what I'd want the general demeanor of Ribbon Man to look like. Uh, Kelsey, you're familiar with the top the fourth wall. Do you know Snowflame? Because that should tell you everything I think of that character. For anyone who watches this replay who doesn't know, first off, Atop the Fourth Wall, fabulous comic review show, a lot of fun. But it came from the era when there were a lot of sketches and things like that that got intermixed with that type of video review, a format which I still quite enjoy. But at one point, he reviewed a pretty bad comic called The New Guardians that featured, and I'm not making this up, a supervillain who got his superpowers from cocaine named Snowflame. And a parody of that character became a recurring character on his show who just show up ridiculously high and say the craziest stuff. That's basically what I would want. What I would want this character to be, but not necessarily with Scotty getting high because this is a kid's show. It's not a kid's show. Kappa doesn't apply to me. Go away, YouTube. What colors haven't I done? I haven't done a red, but I kind of don't. His shirt's red, so I need to be careful with that. Have to do a more different red. Eh. Now I'm getting her pinks. Uh, no proper yellow. Let's do a yellow. Oop. Filling a bunch of them in. Oh, I know what ribbon color I need to do. That'll be next. Yeah. Let's make this one yellow. Oh. We go. All right. Next color. Eh. There we go. My brand color. Because how did I forget my brand color? Of course that has to be on there. Nah, it looks too close to the one next to it. There we go. Nope. There we go. I don't know why I was doing that. Okay. The ribbon domino mask is fully colored. I decided I'm going to do one color for each of the ribbons in the mask and logo. And that's where I will come up with my color limit. Ah, there we go. Ooh. I'm also going to put in the red that I use in my book. Actually, I know the code for it. This is how you know you've been working with a color too much. You've memorized the hex code for it. Nope, that won't work. Never mind. Find a nice cyan. How's that? Don't think I've done one of those. Yeah, it's different enough from that color. I wonder how long it would take to put together uh, an entire cape made out of ribbons. Man, I'm so glad I decided to go with the cape idea. When I originally was doing this joke, the idea was that he'd have what looked like a beard made out of ribbons. And cape is way funnier and easier to draw and easier to figure out how it would conceivably work. I think. Ah, almost done. At least with that part. All right, time to start figuring out other colors I can pull. It's a good orange. Do I have orange on it? Yeah, I do. It's probably even the same orange. Oh, gray. Gray ribbons are actually pretty common, so can't believe I didn't think of that before. Only 3 more colors, and then the rest is fill in. I could have made this significantly lazier, but honestly, if you're gonna make a cape made out of ribbons, you go whole hog. Let's see. Kelsey, you got brand colors? If you happen to know the colors, put the hex codes in the chat. Let's make this as shilly as possible. Let's see if I can get a different orange. Or a decent brown. What would that do? Actually, a very, very red orange. How's that? Nope. Might as well do a brown one. I don't have the hex codes off the top of my head, but brand colors are yellow and deep purple, both of which I've kind of hit. The main reason I happen to know the hex code for the red that I used for my book is some of the advertising I did involved programs that couldn't work in CMYK, and in order to get the right color, that was the best way to remember it. I no longer need to go higher than this. That's good. You said deep purple. Like golden yellow, the Rayman colors. So not, as I've been told, is chartreuse. Yellow's a bit of a tricky color in this series because I have trouble getting... That one actually is brighter. I just realized there are 2 identical next to each other. Let's fix that. It looks too much like the other yellow. Golden yellow. That's browning. I try to pick only colors that count as print safe and web safe. Just in part because it limits the color palette a little. Oh, that'll work. And because it reduces the chance that there are going to be problems printing those colors. Nope. Rayman. I've never actually played the Rayman games. I'm familiar with them, but I haven't played them. Let's see. I enjoy watching Markiplier play Rayman themed Uno, which, if you haven't seen, is hilarious. He's done a lot of videos of it with two other streamer buddies, and things get crazy because they put on all the worst possible rules. All right, let's see. Other colors. You mentioned a deep purple. Let's see if we can make that work. Is that different enough? Yeah, it's different enough. That will be the last color. No! Yeah, stop it. Well, I made it past the second world once. Oh, I played Rayman a lot as a kid. It's hard as balls. Never made it past the second world. So have you played any of the new Rayman games? Because I imagine they've balanced the difficulty a little bit. Just a guess, because if they didn't, life would get crazy. Most games don't want people to get Dark Souls out of it. Except, like, Dark Souls. Yeah, stop it. I keep missing the hole. There we go. Mm. All right, what do we have? There, there. I think I'm going to call it after I finish up the coloring on these ribbons, just because this stream's been going a while and things have gotten pretty lazy. I'll finish up the last of what I'll need to do probably tomorrow, although I really kind of need to do taxes tomorrow. I need to get that taken care of. I put it aside while I worked on the book, and now cannot wait that much longer, especially if I'm going to be traveling soon. We shall see. Played one of the phone games of Rayman. It was pretty easy. They made the difficulty level actually all ages friendly. That's good. I don't even know what color I have right now. Do one more of that. After the first game's obnoxious difficulty, Ubisoft lowered the difficulty so absurdly. Yeah, that happens. They want people to be able to play and enjoy the game. And the more people that can't do that, the fewer people will play and enjoy their game. Makes sense. I'm a fan of the XCOM series, and sort of the same thing happened. They did keep the basic difficulty level pretty high, but they made it so that there was kind of a nerfed version that people who didn't want that much difficulty could play. And I'm kind of in favor of it because that game, or when it first came out, was designed to be absurdly hard. Like that was sort of the point. Um, and the fact that they decided they needed to, I like that more people have been able to play and enjoy the games. Let's do you, 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 and you. You, 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 and you. How about? No, can't do that. That. You. No! Why are you grabbing a deep black color? I didn't select anything black. Photoshop's been so weird tonight. Rayman was it's a PlayStation exclusive, isn't it? I've trying to remember. I thought the original came out on uh, PlayStation 1. I could be mistaken, but that's my recollection. I guess it wouldn't be exclusive now since I think there's a Wii version or Switch version. Except for the rabbits. We don't talk about the rabbits. Speaking of XCOM, there is a game that I've seen little bits of that is basically if you took the combat and gameplay systems of XCOM and applied them to Mario and the Rabbids. Uh, it looks like the silliest idea for a game I've seen in a long time. No one talks about the Jaguar. Oh, I know about the Jaguar. But yeah, I really want to see that Mario and Rabbids XCOM style game. The main way I know it is the Game Grumps, who played a little bit of it, but not much. And I will say, as someone who does enjoy XCOM, it was unbelievably frustrating watching just how bad Aaron was at that game. Like, I know a lot of times they're not taking it particularly seriously, but there are certain basic mechanics that I thought were common sense. Oh, I hit the screw up the layout button. There we go. And he didn't understand the concept of taking cover. Like he'd run around the wrong side of the cover and aim at enemies, and I'm like, you've just what are you doing? You can get shot now. That's the point of cover. Stop that. You know, it's such a funny gag, but I don't know that I'm ever going to want to draw Ribbon Man ever again. At least not with as many ribbons of these different colors. He was fun to do the line work for. I'll give him that. Let's do purple. And then for that end one, how about let's see. Man, I can't believe you referenced the Jaguar. That is an old system. I'm trying to remember if it was actually legitimately bad or just unlucky. Like the Saturn was unlucky. That was a system that probably should have had more legs than it ended up having. I think that from what I've heard, the Jaguar was pretty bad, but I don't remember for sure. I seem to remember a thing about it being unbelievably huge, like physically. It took up a lot of space. Let's see. I tend to be charitable with these kinds of things because I don't know. Everything has its ups and downs. I still at times defend the Virtual Boy, uh, much to the shock of probably even the inventors of the Virtual Boy. No one expects anyone to say anything nice about it, but I remember when I was a kid thinking it was cool. I'm glad VR tech's gotten better. I imagine it will continue to get better. I have friends who still make fun of me for enjoying the Virtual Boy when I was younger. They're like, no wonder you have glasses, stuff like that. I say it led to the creation of good VR systems, so we can thank it for that at least. A couple more with brand color. Oh, can't do that because there's one right there. No adjacent colors. We must make this work. That'll work. This thing is pure chaos, and I kind of love it. Man, I'm not even going to shade these tonight. Let's see. Last color. Oh, why you keep grabbing black? Photoshop's been so weird tonight. It's driving me crazy. That is all of them. Okay. Well, I'm going to finish this up tomorrow because that took a lot longer than I was expecting. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys had a good time with it. I'm going to go ahead and switch views. There we go. If you enjoyed this, you can follow my work at the Patreon link down below, patreon.com/bwhcomics. The strips that I was working on come from my webcomic, a weeb comic about cosplay and convention craziness called CosPain, which you can find at www.cospaincomiccomic.com. You can also follow me on social media. I'm BWH Comics on basically every platform. And yeah, that's pretty much it. My experience, Photoshop has a lot of issues when you live stream with it. One of the big reasons I switched to CSP. Yeah, I haven't had problems with it before, but it seems to be I actually, before you came in, the live stream went down briefly because I had to restart my computer because I thought maybe that would fix it. So yeah, craziness. But anyway, Kelsey, thank you for joining us, and everyone else who catches this in replay. Rock on, guys, and never stop drawing.